Donald Trump's Department of Justice continues to collapse, and now they are citing fake cases. Yeah, I guess when the law isn't on your side, just have AI generate fake cases and cite them. The real serious issue here, though, these are cases that involve matters of life or death. I mean, the detention of human beings, these immigration cases where you have people filing habeas corpus petitions for being unlawfully detained, other very serious cases. This idea that the Department of Justice is using AI, at least in this one case where a Trump-appointed judge called them out. Now, we've seen a lot of this with maybe pro se, people who represent themselves in cases. And there have been law firms that have gotten very serious sanctions for using AI and citing fake cases. The fact that the DOJ is doing it, the once exalted DOJ with all these resources that prided itself on legal research and that has, you know, a lot of the precedent is precedent that it deals with every damn day. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these cases, you know, I guess until Donald Trump destroyed the entire legal system, you know, when the DOJ case is a little bit of a rhythm with it, because if you're doing immigration cases, there's kind of the seminal cases that you cite over and over again. If you're doing civil rights cases, you have the seminal cases you cite. If you're doing criminal cases, you know, there's a series of cases that are in your repertoire. And sometimes there are novel issues that require deeper research. But the idea that they had to resort to cite AI fake cases in a very serious immigration case, and Judge Jarboe, a Trump appointee in Michigan, calls them out for it. And by the way, this judge should have sanctioned the hell out of him. The judge mocked him and said that it's a real serious violation. But any other lawyer I've seen in situations where this has happened has gotten serious referrals to the bar. Let me show you what happens in this case. The order talks about how petitioner, a United States Immigrations and Customs Enforcement detainee, initiated an action for a petition for writ of habeas corpus. And it goes on to talk about, you know, what went down. And it says over here that the government cites a case, Taylor versus Hote, which is not located at the identified page of the federal appendix. Page 387 is contained with a different opinion, Atkins versus CGI, which is about commercial arbitration, not immigration bond determinations. In its research, the court was unable to identify a Sixth Circuit case with the caption Taylor v. Holt or any federal case containing the quoted language. And it goes on to say, it's no secret that generative AI programs are known to hallucinate non-existent cases. And with the advent of AI, courts have seen a rash of cases in which both counsel and pro se litigants have cited fake, hallucinated cases in their briefs. It should be obvious that any attorney who uses AI must scrupulously review its work product to ensure that the cases cited exist, you think? Although the court will not presently impose sanctions for this conduct, it goes without saying that the government must ensure its future filings with this court do not include non-existent case law and cases. Let's bring in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, podcast, and Substack. The government, in this case, serious case, citing AI hallucinated cases that don't exist. They were called out for it. Now, Harry, obviously it's a humiliating, but these are cases that involve human beings' lives, right? I mean, there's never a time where you should be citing AI cases, but like, you know, if there was a discovery dispute in some monetary litigation case, you know, when you cite something that stands for the proposition of requests for production of documents should be propounded, it's still very bad. There still should be sanctions. But when you're doing an immigration case, and Harry, you know, I mean, this is specialty stuff where you should know the cases. Like, why would you even need to go AI? And so if they're doing this, Harry, there's a broader pattern in practice that you and I have been covering at play, because this seems to be systemic in what's going on here at this completely without any credibility DOJ.
Dumbfounding. You know, it's out there, AI. You see certain ragtag folks or pro se lawyers caught the idea that DOJ is using AI and submitting things to the court. Now, we've watched the systematic degradation of the department. All these people, professionals, have been hollowed out. They've had to beat the bushes and give bonuses and ice cream, who knows what, to get new people in, very inexperienced. I'm betting dollars to donuts it was one of these folks, because it's not, look, obviously complete incompetence and the like, but it's more than that. Here's how you file a brief, any brief. Including continuance when you are at the DOJ and at a big law firm. You write it up. And yes, you will be putting in some cites that you're finding in others of your research when you first do a draft. This couldn't have even been that, right? Somehow they just said, oh, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me a good case that says blah, blah, blah? But it doesn't matter. At the end, you have a draft. And then there are these big carols at DOJ, and usually a support person, or maybe you yourself, will take the book. All of these are in books for every single case. Put them right next to you. Page 2, Marbury. Take out the volume, look, and confirm. That seems kind of like uber conscientious. It's not. This is the DOJ talking to the federal courts, the disrespect. And by the way, yeah, he really did. He could have totally lacerated this stumble bomb. Instead, it should really be understood that cases cited to the courts should be real cases. You think so? This is example 10,422 of things that are now being done, as a result of which the presumption of regularity is out the window. And, you've made this point and you're making it again when you point out accurately, we're talking cases with, on both sides, the defendants too, you have these real, live, important human stakes. And when you're this big a screw up, the damage goes to the public safety or potentially the constitutional rights of the defendants that you are duty bound to safeguard. And God knows, have there been other cases in which a district court hasn't punctiliously fly-specced everything that the DOJ says, but just takes it for granted? It's, after all, the DOJ, except it ain't your brothers or parents' DOJ anymore. It's the sort of thing that, somebody would take a 6-month sabbatical or whatever. After doing this, it would be so, completely humiliating. That place doesn't seem to have a lot of shame or humiliation left over, that you could even get to that spot. Even if you're a lazy guy, whatever, that somehow in your mind, you can think, I know, I'll just ask ChatGPT and I won't double check it thereafter. You're a complete lunatic if you do that. But I think it goes to show that that's the newest recruits at DOJ, the ones who are left are in a sense the dregs. And, I'm thinking, if I were you as attorney or back in Maine Justice and you do this and it shows up, you would be completely gobsmacked and personally affronted and go to that. How the hell could this happen? It's not like it's such an elementary error, and it's such an act of dishonesty, right? I mean, it's on top of everything else. You're making shit up, meaning, you're making representation credit and you don't even care if it's true. It could be straight up fiction. No wonder the presumption of regularity is just completely down the drain in so many offices around the country. This is so beyond the pale. And all I can say is, maybe in some terrible concatenation of errors, something like that happens. But if and when it does, all the way to main justice, there's immediate kind of falling on your sword and remediation and all that kind of stuff. And this, I think, is just, that was a bad thing that happened Tuesday. It speaks so much of the lowered or maybe eviscerated professional standards at what once was, not long ago, the strongest law firm in the country or maybe world.
Harry, you were a federal prosecutor for many years. You were the top federal prosecutor in the Western District of Pennsylvania. You could probably write a book of war stories about unprepared litigants on the other side who came in and made all of the mistakes. Right. Now, it seems the current DOJ is going through a humiliation check the box ritual of every one of those mistakes that the pro se litigants would make, that that unprepared law firms would make. And the DOJ is doing it worse than ever. In many ways, it's like the revenge of the criminal defense lawyer who now gets to look at the unprepared DOJ and say, look what fools, the DOJ looks like. I mean, someone like you, Harry, you'd be upset if you were reading the brief and the parenthetical, had the parentheses, that wasn't in the right place, or had a semicolon that looked off.
All right. I'm a little anal, but that as a lawyer, but it would be much more than that, Ben. If I'm U.S. attorney and somebody files this, I guarantee almost any judge in the court would have my head on a platter. I want to see Mr. Litman in open court right now. What the hell is going on in your office? How could I'm sorry, Your Honor. It would be a crisis. And here it's a kind of Tuesday, as I say, but it's so beyond the pale. And yeah, it would immediately, and I'm thinking of judges on both sides of the aisle. It's like, are you kidding me? What kind of clown show are you running down there, Mr. Litman? And, it would be work to try to win back the credibility. That's all gone now. And they seem, nonchalant about it. Todd Blanche says, we're still the good old DOJ getting up and doing the right thing. They are not the good old DOJ getting up and doing the right thing. And the assistants who are left are being downgraded for it. And the ultimate cost is being paid by the public for not having the best and the brightest or anything close to it out there enforcing federal law.
It's like Todd Blanche's hearing is kind of like Admiral Cooper of CENTCOM saying, the Strait of Hormuz is open. Everything is good. Right. Ships, come on through. Ships, you're free to go. Todd Blanche, nothing to see here. Everything is great. And, that's to me, Harry, where this isn't, I find myself on this network very rarely anymore, even talking about like the Democrat said this and the Republican said that. I'm talking about like the basic facts here. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The DOJ is collapsing. This isn't a Democrat or Republican or independent. Although let's be clear, this is what the Republican Party has become under Donald Trump. They're okay with this. Apparently, and I just got to call it out. This is the behavior here is just unprofessional and sickening and malicious and reckless. Anyway, subscribe to Harry Litman's YouTube channel. It's called Talking Feds. Search Talking Feds on YouTube. Tell Harry that I said hello. And then you want to do something really, we could speak in a coded language to Harry. Tell Harry in the comments if you bought WTF America, the new book by the MeidasTouch Network that comes out October. Say, Harry, Ben told me to tell you that I got a copy of WTF America because WTF, Harry. That's why I wake up and I say WTF.
And I just want to repeat which is that severe and elementary and screw up. That means something's really wrong systemically. It's not just one crazy lawyer. That would be why judges wouldn't dress that lawyer down. They'd want the U.S. attorney. What WTF, Mr. U.S. attorney?
We'll never end this because I'll just keep going back to you. Because on a motion like this, There's the case law is the case law. Like, you become an expert in it if you're in this topic. Like, you don't need to go, hey, ChatGPT, what's the habeas case? You know your district. You're in the Sixth Circuit. You do this case all day. You should know what the case is regarding these types of petitions without asking ChatGPT. This isn't a new novel issue of law that nobody's anyway. You and I could do this forever. Subscribe to Harry Litman's channel, Talking Feds. And Harry, we get it. Hit subscribe.
Okay.
Breaking news right now. My brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.